Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Radio FreakJam.
Good evening. That's the one, not leaving. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night. It's Radio FreakJam, and I'm here with some very special guests. Really, please welcome to Radio FreakJam Station House. Oh, that shouldn't do. There we go. Hello, guys. How are we doing? So we'll go around the room.
Good.
We've got Mr. Sam Kelly. We've got the lovely Rowena. And we've got Tony.
Hello.
How you doing, guys?
I'm very well.
Yeah, good, thanks. Yourself?
Itching to do a gig, but very well.
Aren't we all, Sam?
Yeah.
So, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to talk about the wonderful Station House. Now, I've known Sam for years, Sam, innit, now?
A good few years, yeah.
And you and I have done
friends.
broadcasts
Yeah.
before and interviews, and you've done panellists on MSI with me in the past. We've had lots of fun, and we've played live together and jam nights and all sorts of stuff. And
Yeah.
the lovely Rowena below me, Ro and I have known each other for a long time, but not known each other for a long time at the same time. We've kind of mixed on the same circuit, around the same people, but
Ran parallel for a while.
yeah. And it wasn't until really lockdown, or just before that Jules's funeral, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
that you and I properly chatted and got to know each other a bit better, which has been a lot of fun. And Tony, this
been awesome.
bloke down there, there he's standing there, I don't know him. So tonight's going to be very special to get to know Tony as well. So this is a good opportunity. So I think before we get into all the chat, we should have some music, guys, don't you?
Excellent idea.
Yeah, let's play some music.
So let's start with a Station House track. We're going to start with Mr. Fake. This is the track that Sam highlighted when we were chatting earlier. So we'll have this, then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the band and the next gig they're going to play. Maybe not. That's too soon. Too soon. Let's have some music.
Thank
Oh, yeah, Mr. Fake there. So, let's start. Sam, tell me a little bit about Mr. Fake and how the writing process comes about for an
I'm
instrument.
glad you asked that, Ian, because while it was being played, I just thought, oh, yeah, we'll talk about that, because it's one of the tracks that was written by, well, this the only track that was written by a guy, the same guy that did the engineering and whose studio we use, a guy called Christophe Palissier, who lives in Rouen in northern France.
So you
And
travelled all the way to
hear
France to record this?
Well, yeah, I couldn't really get everybody. If we stayed in England, we couldn't keep everybody in the same place. So we kind of packed everything up and went off to France and do everything in what was it, 3 days, guys? I think we did everything.
It was about 3 days.
You did it without me.
Well, Ro couldn't make it, being
We did.
she's doing a mum thing.
Yeah.
For a while,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think that's the way we did it. So lovely track, lovely guitar solos from Christophe and Tony. Well done, mate.
Fantastic. So
That's it for me.
what is the writing process with the band? Is it a jam thing and just sort of pull the good bits out the jams? Do you go in with purpose-written ideas? How does it all work?
You want to go with that one, Tony?
Yes. Basically, what it is with the album that we did, it was our own versions of compositions that had already been written by a bunch of people, and that's one of the, what would you call it, the kind of ethos or something like that of Station House, I would say, is that we might take a song or so on, and we put our own twist on it.
So all the songs are
specialise
technically
it.
covers.
That album is like that.
All the songs are technically
Pardon?
covers of other people's work.
They are.
All the
they
songs
are.
on that
Right,
record
okay.
are actually
Yeah,
covers.
because
Yeah.
we tried for about 2 years to try and get the band to write. But again, part of the problem that we were having, which kind of made me suggest that we go abroad and do it, is because you couldn't, it was very difficult to get everybody in the same place at the same time and to come up with ideas, because different combinations, that was the idea. Originally was, yes, get 2 or 3 people together, write something, then take it into the rehearsal studios and play it. And then if it works, because as musicians, you know very quickly whether something's working or not
Yeah.
in a rehearsal studio, and then record it. If it wasn't working, then just move on. But we couldn't get that side of it together, so let's just do, covers, which is what we've been doing for, 10 years?
Cool. So, Rowena, you weren't invited
Yes.
to France.
Well, I was invited, but unfortunately at the time, no, I had. How do we keep this on the level? I had personal issues I had to attend to.
Okay, we'll leave it that one there. We don't need
Yeah.
details. We all have
Exactly.
personal issues
Yes,
to
yes,
attend
yes,
to.
yes. I was wondering. I've been.
Sam, stay on the line. I'll chat to you later.
Sorry.
You could have
Be
asked
quiet,
at
Sam, be
any
quiet.
point over the last 4 years.
So, where did you record your vocals, Ro?
The exotic location of Twickenham,
Ah, okay. Sunny Twickenham.
sunny Twickenham, in about, I think I did it in like December.
That's right, yeah.
So December in Twickenham,
Really sunny
Yeah.
Twickenham. Yeah.
really sunny.
Beautiful. And you haven't done a lot of recording stuff yourself, have you, Ro? You're more of a live person traditionally.
Yeah, I've just had a lot more luck with the live gigs than people asking me to record. Maybe once they've heard it, they don't want to listen to it again. I don't know.
Well, I don't think that's the case because we're playing it tonight.
Aw.
So,
Exactly.
let's get on
Sam's
with
the
one of
only one
those.
that asked.
Let's get on with one of those. One of the first songs Sam sent me from the album was Howling to Midnight, which has become a bit of a show
Aha.
favourite. I've played it a few times.
Yeah,
It gets played quite a bit. So I want to play that one now. This is the lovely Ro on vocals with the rest of the guys. Do you want to give the rest of the band a quick name check, Sam?
Bloody, it's been so long. I can't remember who else is in the band. There's Jerome Marcus on backing vocals and percussion. Paul Jobson on keyboards and vocals, some lead, some backing vocals. Richard Sadler on double bass and engineering, as well, sound engineering.
So here they all are.
And recording my vocals.
Recording of Rowena's voice, yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is Howling to Midnight with a bit of the Station House. We have got people in the chat room on YouTube, so if you've got any questions for the band, drop them in the chat room. I'll try and get round to them. But here's Howling to Midnight.
From the valley, and the hound has found its track. Waits for the bells at the break of day. Always laughing along. Worn out shoes and ragged clothes, and the dreams of his life are gone. There's a battle that can't be won. There's nowhere to run. Howl into the midnight. Don't let the night take you away. Walt made his choice when he left home. Knew he'd never go back. Nothing left but the highway, and the white lines on the black. Waits for the bells at the break of day. On the mountain he stands alone. Worn out shoes and ragged clothes, and the dreams of his life are gone. There's a battle that can't be won. Gotta fight, there's nowhere to run. Howl into the midnight. Don't let the night take you away. You have been questioned, I ain't got no answers. I'm only a ghost and no one can see me. I'm out on the highway, gotta fight alone.
There we go. Howl into the Midnight, Station House from the No Barricades album. So is No Barricades the first Station House album?
No, it's the
Sam?
third.
Third. Okay.
It's the third album, yeah.
And
One we did,
go on.
I was going to say, one we did some years ago with the original lineup, because I mean, Station House came out of a band that was put together down at the Station Tavern down in Latimer Road, which is one of the best blues venues in London. I mean, it had music on 7 nights a week, and I used to play down there a lot. And the owner came up to me one and said, "Sam, I realise I've been around this business for a long time, and I realise there's no predominantly black bands playing blues." Hint. Okay, I'll put one together if you give me a gig at your pub. And that's how it came about. And the original members were a guy called TJ Johnson on guitar and vocals, Root Jackson on vocals, a guy called Dave Clark on bass, and myself. So that was the original Station House, but it's changed personnel, over the years. That was just 15, 20 years ago.
So you've got a long sordid history then, Sam.
I have, yes. The rest of the guys I don't know about, but I have, yeah.
Is that the same TJ that plays with Gary Reese, or did play with Gary Reese?
Exactly.
I know TJ, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small musicians' world. We all know each other somewhere down the line.
Absolutely.
So, Tony, sitting in the
Yes,
corner
indeed.
from me, tell us about your role with Station House and how you ended up with this motley crew of musicians. Oh, we've lost him for a second. Let's try that again. Go on. Try for me now, Tony. Nope. 1 second. No. Oh, we've got a technical glitch here. There we go. Try now.
Oh, no. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got you.
There you are.
Yeah. Okay, so I knew Sam way back in the distant past, long before I'd heard of Station House. We played in a band together, and for a short time. But more recently, it was just over 10 years ago, I suppose now, I'd moved down from South London to Maidstone and just went to a jam within a few days and met Mr. Paul Jobson, who was playing bass on a jam. I got up and did a couple of songs, and he said, "Look, I'm playing a gig in Rochester next week. Do you want to come and have a look? There's this guy, Sam Kelly, playing drums. It's his band." I thought, Sam Kelly, I know that name. I thought, I wonder if it's the same one. Of course, when I got there, I found it was the same Sam Kelly, and that's how I met up with him.
Fantastic. And your role in the band is a vocalist?
I do some lead vocals. I play guitar, and I also play electric violin.
Electric violin now?
I do.
Hoping.
Electric violin.
And what tracks do you play electric violin on in Station House?
Which one? It's only one, isn't it? You upset
Yes, and I can't remember off the top.
You upset me.
Yes, You Upset Me is on the album.
Well.
The track You Upset Me is the only one I play the electric fiddle on.
We might have to dig that out, I think. Yeah.
How long have I known you now, Ian?
You've known... Oh, God knows, Sam. It's been years.
But don't play that.
Okay.
No, I'm only kidding.
Have you an aversion to the violin or something, Sam? Is it like an allergy or something?
I've heard him play it live.
There's just an aversion to Tony.
He's an excellent musician, actually. Being realistic and being honest. He's an excellent musician.
Now you say that.
But don't tell him I said that.
So how many vocalists have you got in the band? You've got Tony, you've got Ro, you've got Paul.
Yeah.
So you all do a bit of singing.
And Jerome.
And Jerome sings as well, of course, yeah.
Jerome does some backing.
Well, Ro, Tony and Paul do lead vocals on different songs, and Jerome does BVs, and occasionally I do some BVs as well. Yeah, we won't go into that.
I was going to say, do you want to give us some now?
No.
Well, Tony, we were talking earlier,
I'll
and
email you the MP3.
yeah, email me do it. We can play it. Tony, we were talking earlier, and one of the songs you mentioned was Black and White.
Correct.
Is this you on the lead vocals?
That is.
Wicked. Well, we're going to play that one next. We'll have a dose of Tony.
Yeah.
And then what I want to do when we come back is that a little birdie has told me that Rowena's got a guitar ready and she might be prepared to give us a song. And Tony has also got a guitar ready and
Little
might
birdie
be
will be a
prepared to
dead
give us a
birdie.
song. Happy anniversary as well, Ro, because you and your little birdie are celebrating 19 years.
Thank
19
you.
years. Well done, you guys.
Wow.
Well done.
Yeah, he won't make it to 20.
He's under my protection now because he's helping me out. So, just saying. Right. Here's
Yeah,
a bit
but
of-
I've got the child and he's on my side.
Yeah.
And you know martial arts and swords and stuff. Yeah, be afraid. Be very afraid. Let's have some music while
So does he.
Ro gets violent. Here's Black and White.
Friend died this morning. I held him in my arms. Said it was bootleg poison. I knew better. Died of an overdose. A love that's running cold. Couldn't be a man like the rest of us. And I was a young man. I had some questions. Asked my father. He said it's just the way it is. He said, son, I don't understand it any more than you do. I'm just a man, but I have rights, yeah. I have a small frame. I still have a right. I don't want to walk in the darkness. I want to walk in the light. Well, sometimes you gotta change things. If you don't like them, you gotta change. If you don't like it, step back. For the purposes of electoral mandate, all persons of African descent shall be counted as 2/3 of a man for the Constitution.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Black and White there by the Station House. So while that was playing, guys, we've had some questions come in the chat room. One from Ros Smith. And Ros wants to know, can you tell us more about the background of Black and White as a song? And I think with what's going on in the world at the moment, that's quite a good question to ask. So who wants to take that one?
Ro?
You want it to
I think
me,
that should be you, Sam. Or you, Tony. I'm not even really on that one.
I don't mind.
Go on, Tony, over to
You've
you.
got something to say on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's the song's become dear to my heart. Actually, I must say, it was written by T.W. Henderson, a blues guy from the United States that Sam had worked with in the past. And when Sam suggested, he said, "Oh, look, this song Black and White," and I heard it, and he said, "I think you should sing it." And I quite quickly found, I felt it felt quite personal, the meaning of it to me, and particularly because my dad was from South Africa. He was from the tribe called the Xhosa, similar to Nelson Mandela, where there'd been some pretty nasty apartheid stuff going on that obviously people knew about. And in the song Black and White, it doesn't specifically say within the song what it's actually about, but you can take the sort of injustice, the ideas of injustice and so on. That certainly comes across. And I think it was based on a factual thing in the States.
Is it something to do with was it one of the amendments in America where they counted Africans as 3/5 of a man? 3/5 a person from point of view. Yeah. Because of population and voting rights and bits and pieces like that. I don't know the full details, but I mean, yeah. So obviously 2/3 of a man sounds better than 3/5 of a man in a song, I'd say.
Absolutely right. Being a songwriter yourself, you know,
you change it around. But I think it was the 13th Amendments in America, something around the 1700s, if I remember my history correctly.
Yeah. I think that's totally correct. But I think it's interesting that when we play it live, it really hits a nerve, as it were, in a universal way, I would say, and it's quite very emotional, actually. An emotional kind of song, and the reaction from people is quite often quite often people are stunned into a kind of silence of emotion. I don't know how else to put it, really.
Exactly.
Like I say, it hits some nerve.
It does hit a nerve. You know, for me, it's our blues, even though it's not a 12-bar blues. It's equivalent of us doing a blues. I mean, the lyrics, as Tony is saying, is telling a story about history, etc., etc., etc. You know, there's a lot of meaning behind that.
I think so, and you know, what a song for our times. You know, let's not get into the deepness of what's going on at the time. I think we can all agree the world is going totally bonkers in many different ways, from pandemics to everything else that's going on. And you know, this is what it's about. Four of us sat here together. The one thing that unites us all, and has united us all for a long time, is music. And that song in its own right has got its own message which people can listen to and take something away from. And that's a universal language we need to adopt more in this day and age, I feel.
Well, I think it's something as musicians that we can contribute, because, you know, people will listen. Because, as I say, the first few times we did it after the album, didn't we? I mean, we were stunned by the reaction, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because it was like a tumbleweed moment, and people were like, the reaction was, you know, do we applaud, or, you know, or what do we do right for this moment? And then they get it, and, you know, most of the time they stand up and applaud. But it's that moment in between when we finish, when Tony finishes on that guitar, and they're wondering, you know, what was that? You know,
what was that little bit of speech from, Tony? There's that little bit of speech you do in there. Do you know where that comes from, or is that actually just the original part of the song?
it's a part of the song. I don't know if it was an original, actual speech, word for word.
Right.
I actually don't know the background of that.
Okay, just interesting. It
I mean, it
sounded
sounds like it is.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it did sound like some sort of political speech in some sense of words. I just wondered who that was from, if it was Martin Luther King or someone like that.
I think it started off as a personal message. A friend died this morning, etc., and it just blossomed out into more, into bigger things. Let's say.
Yes.
That's what I get from it.
Cool. Well, we had another question as well from Ian in Guildford. Ian, good name. We like Ians. And Ian, on a lighter note, wants to know how you guys first started playing and who inspired you to do that. So we'll go around the room. We'll start with Sam, then we'll go down to Tony, and then we'll come across to Rowena. So Sam, how did you start and what inspired you to start?
How did I start? Oh gosh, we only got about another half an hour to go, and the story will take about 3 days to. But in a nutshell, what it was basically how I started playing drums. I used drums as a form of anger management, because when I was about 17, 18, I was extremely angry with the world. And instead of going out and getting beaten up or beating up other people or getting that side of it, my brother, who was a musician, bought a drum kit, and I used to go down, and when I had to release this anger, I used to go down and just hit the drums, not to try and play them and learn to play them, but it was just a way of releasing the anger. And the other part that would take up the other half hour is. I used to live in a place called the White Horse. It's halfway between Brixton and the Oval Cricket Ground. And there's a fantastic art centre at the Oval called the Oval House. And there was a band who was doing a jazz band, in fact, who was doing a gig. They had a very flaky drummer. He just didn't turn up at all. And I think
I've met a few of those.
Yeah, there's loads of us. What happened was somebody I think passing the Oval House had heard me kind of hitting the drums, not playing, but and they said, yeah, there's a drummer down the road, call him up. So they came down to my house and said, we're desperately in need of a drummer, can you come and play? I said, yeah, as you do when you're kind of 17, 18, 19, you just, you can do anything. So I said, yeah, of course I can. But it turned out this band was a jazz band playing all sorts of complicated music. And all I did, I just sat there and just played the simplest beat. And it worked, because they would do all the complex stuff around 4/4 times. So eventually, if you think about it mathematically, you all end up at the one at some point.
Yeah.
And they were just, yeah, and it came from that. That's the start of my career as a drummer.
Playing with a jazz band. There you go.
Playing with a jazz band, Simandi.
Because you were
Simandi.
angry.
Extremely. I still am.
Tony, how about yourself, fella?
Well, I couldn't, when I was very young, probably about 3, from the age of 3, I couldn't escape from music, because everybody in my household loved music. My dad and mum particularly loved classical music. My 2 sisters were into rock and roll and jazz. And I was just, at that age even, I was hearing music all the time. My mum had been a very good pianist when she was young. So she sent me off for piano lessons when I was 6 years old. And then I got violin lessons when I was, I think, 8 or 9, doing classical. At the same time, I was listening to all the bands like the Beatles and all those guys. But as soon as Jimi Hendrix came along, that was it. I thought, that's what I want to do, something like that, And I really had the kind of music bug. And I think from that sort of age, I was probably about 15, I remember speaking to my mum, and I was kind of upset her a bit, because I was saying, what I want to do is just put the guitar on my back. I want to leave home and go around the world, busking or something like that. I didn't actually do that, but certainly that's all I've ever done from then, really.
Fantastic. So your mum's a big influence. This is always nice. It was my dad with me. He picked up a guitar and just used to play some Bob Dylan numbers in the conservatory on a summer's day, and that was it. Got the bug and listened to records. How about you, Rowena?
Yeah.
How did you start, and why did you start? Who inspired you?
Oh, bless my parents. Neither of them could have carried a tune in a bucket, but they were both extremely supportive. They were both extremely supportive of my eldest sister and myself. So my sister was a musician already. Then I came along and went, I want to do that. That looks like fun. And then I ended up in a school band with a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Tim O'Sullivan.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tim's actually watching tonight.
Yeah,
he's in the chat room.
Hi, Tim. So yeah, that dates back to when I was about 11. And then did loads of gigs here, there and everywhere, and then ended up doing a gig, and I was introduced to this guy called Sam Kelly that was going to play drums for us that night.
No, not him.
And now look at us. Yeah, him.
It was not when I first heard Rose sing, I was so impressed. It was a soul band, if I remember right, and I thought this lady's got the most amazing.
Indeed, that waistcoat.
Rock voice. There's such a projection, amazing projection. I've got to have her in my band, but it took quite a few years before the situation.
About 20 of them.
Yes. Well, not many. In the scheme of things, that's not too bad. But no, I think it was perfect. It's like with Tony. The band, even though Tony didn't elaborate on it, the band that we were in together all those many years ago, 25 years, maybe more, we were the tightest band that you could imagine. Because all we did, we rehearsed. Was it 2 times, 3 times a week? We just rehearsed. We never did a gig.
At least.
We just rehearsed. And then we did one gig in what, maybe, let's say 6 months or a year. I can't remember how long we did this. And then the band broke up.
Oh.
One gig.
I've got Tim in the chat saying Utopia, Rowena. Was that the name of the band?
Utopia. Let's go further back. Stud Jones.
Stud Jones. I don't know, see if Tim remembers that. He's saying they were good times.
Yeah, that was before my time. That was his band. Yeah,
So, I'll tell you what,
very good times.
As Sam pointed out, it's 9:45 already. I don't know where the time's gone. So let's have some live music. Who wants to go first, Rowena or Tony?
Are we going to do them back to back?
Sam should choose.
Yeah, we'll do them back to back, per se.
Well, you've got your guitar, baby, on your lap, haven't you? Tony?
So I've got to be this way around then.
Oh, you have as well.
Back to back.
Be like ABBA.
Is it ladies first?
Ladies first, I'm good with that. We're gentlemen here. We're gentlemen.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
Come on then, Ro. Now, you tried to do this little song for us on the jam night, and the internet went a bit wobbly, so let's hope tonight...
I tried to make it exclusive just for you.
So let's try and hope tonight it goes a bit better, because your internet's a lot better now.
It is, so fingers crossed, eh?
I better go and get some light.
You get a bit dark there, Sam.
Waiting around to see you again. Oh, memories run through my mind. Strange emotions fill my head, but there's no one by my side. But now I'm twice as strong since you've been gone.
times that we shared are now fading to the past. You were always my first thought. I was obviously your last, but now I'm twice as strong since you've been gone. You weren't here when I needed you. Sometimes I'm not so sure if I can take anymore, but you made me who I am. Oh, when things fall apart, I know you won't be here. Now that I'm on my own, I've learned to survive. Nice to see you. Nothing's changed. It's been so good spending time with you. Now you're leaving. Had time to think, and I'm better without you. 'Cause now I'm twice as strong since you've been gone. Where were you when I needed you? Sometimes I'm not so sure if I can take anymore, but you made me who I am. Yes, you made me who I am. You went and made me who I am.
Oh, lovely. Nice.
Can I dive in? Would you mind, Ro?
Did it work this time?
Yeah, an MP3
Yes.
or something like that off to it, because I'd like to put that in the set, because I've never heard you sing that before.
I was just going to say,
Brilliant.
was that
bugger.
Rose audition for an original song for Station House?
Well, after 20 years of being on the Fringe, that you've just passed your audition, darling. I'll keep the P45 for another time. No, I'd really like to put that in the set if that's okay. We'll talk about it after. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We can talk later.
Lovely.
We can talk later.
Yeah.
Contracts and stuff like that. Tony, apparently Tony's got a song that he wrote himself, which was actually covered by a very famous artist.
Yeah, well, it's a Neil Young song actually. I would love to do an original, but I'm a bit ill prepared. I forgot to say when you were asking me Ian, about my musical influences. Well, I used to play a lot of music with my brother Andy. We've both been musicians for many, many years. And so my brother Andy is actually a big influence on me in the way that we used to share our love of music and all that and play in bands together.
I think there's lovely when there's a family connection.
This is sort of like there is. I mean, it is indeed. And way back when we had sort of what became an original band, we used to play some covers. We used to play some Crosby, Still, Nash and Young. And I really love Neil Young. So I'm going to be doing an abridged version of a Neil Young song.
Awesome. Over to you then, Tony.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Play.
Yeah, I was playing. a cinnamon girl. A dreamer of pictures are running the night. You see us together, chasing the moonlight, my cinnamon girl. Ten silver saxes, a bass with a bow. The drummer relaxes, a waist between shows for his cinnamon girl. A dreamer of pictures are running the night. You see us together, chasing the moonlight, my cinnamon girl. Ah, give me money now, I wanna make it somehow. Give me another chance. I see a lady wants to dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I dream of pictures are running the night. You see us together, chasing the moonlight, my cinnamon girl.
Well done there,
Nice
sir.
one, mate.
Sorry, just having a
Thank
few
you.
problems getting things live. There we go, that's better. Fantastic. Well done, fella. That was really, really nice. I love that song, actually.
Thank
It's
you.
one of my
Yeah,
favourite Neil Young
cracking
ones.
song.
It's
Can I jump in for a second?
of course.
I think a lot of times we do these kind of shows and we don't compliment the people who spend the time, like yourself, Ian, to get it all sorted out. You know, because it must be a lot of work getting it done, putting it together so that it makes it easy for people like us to come on and still do what we do, like play live
look.
or listen to stuff on a record. I mean, you do it because you want to do it, but it's great that you still have that zest and that enthusiasm for keeping it going, keeping music live and on record, obviously. But you know, the main thing is the interaction with people.
It is, and that's really what's driven me to do all of this. Obviously, we were stuck in lockdown. Sorry, Tony. Nobody didn't want to talk about this, but we were stuck in lockdown, and you know, all the gigs got cancelled for all of us. You know, we're all in the same boat, and it was actually a couple of people who come down the jam and who don't really get involved with the jam that said to me, you know, what we're going to do on a Thursday night? How are we going to survive on Thursday night? And so we put the jam together, and then off the back of me sorting out all the technology to do that, I thought, well, I might as well do another show, which started the Unsigned sessions, and then we do the quiz night on Zoom through a Saturday, and it's been really, really good to keep people together, you know, and, you know, meet new people like Tony and get to know Ro better. And I think, you know, as much as we all miss the pub, and as much as we miss the live gigs, when we're there, it's all about business. And we don't get a chance to sit down and
right on the
chat
head, sir. There it is.
like
there
this.
it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And as
And
much as I love what we
coming
do,
out of this,
but
Go
we're all
on,
going to
sorry.
go back into it knowing each other that little bit better. Because we spent time doing things like this, chatting, learning a bit about each other. And I think that's a wonderful thing that lockdown has achieved. So let's, with a bit of lockdown talk. Sorry, Tony. Sam, how have you been spending?
No, mate, seriously.
How have you been spending yours, sir? I know you've obviously got your grandchild who you've been missing dearly, and you've been growing some potatoes. But what else you been up to?
Well, again, about 1 million years ago, when we had a house, a family house in South London, I used to grow a lot of vegetables and things like this, and I've kind of got back into that over this period, but obviously not to the same extent because we live in a flat. So, sitting at home one day and looked in the fridge and one of the potatoes had gone off, or it started to sprout. So I thought, boom, boom, boom. Put it in the soil and there it was sprouting. And it just kept on sprouting and sprouting and sprouting. And it just took over like a triffid. So eventually something has to give. Either I leave and let the plant take over, etc. But it's got me back into growing things again. It's a beautiful connection with music because you can watch things develop musically, and you can watch people develop musically. Because I kind of look at myself now as being one of the older. Catch the white beard, and it stays on until we actually go back and do the first gig. I'm just not going to trim it or anything. So it's brilliant to much like planting that seed. I know that might sound a bit heavy, but watching things develop, things like that, and also just talking to people.
Do you find that you sort of have moments in music where you remember being that fresh 18-year-old full of anger, looking up to these people who are pulling you up and bringing you into a place that you want to be, and a place that's helping you as a person, to 20, 30 years down the line, realise that you're talking to an angry 18-year-old who wants to be the same person? Because I've found that a few times. I looked around the Red Back, looking up to bands like Looney Tunes and the New Originals and all these covers bands that were on the circuit then. And 20 years on, I'm still in contact with these people, but I'm on stage and I'm giving people a chance like I was given that chance, Exactly. I think it's quite an interesting thing to see yourself grow as well.
It does. I mean, it as you say, it brings out a lot. I don't know, how much you might know about yourself, but for me, it brings out a side that I never knew with connection with people. Because I found it for ages and ages difficult to connect with people. Because you always felt for ages that whatever I had to say, nobody really wanted to listen to. So that's the lack of confidence in coming through. Until I started playing music and connecting with these people. As soon as that anger thing, say, all started in the 70s, as soon as that started to come out and be more productive in being in a band and playing music with other people, then it started to get channeled in, and as you're saying, watching the same thing happening to other people. Maybe it's not through anger, but trying to find something that works.
Find themselves.
Often music is one of the things that seems to work quite often.
Agreed.
I mean,
totally agree with that. So, Rowena, I know you've been doing a lot of music during isolation. You've been doing your isolation sessions, which you started. You've done some ukulele.
Yeah, I've been a bit slack with those recently.
But you've done some. That's the main thing. You got involved. So obviously you've got other things going on. What else have you been doing in lockdown?
I've taken a leaf out of Sam's book and been growing potato plants.
It's a station house thing. Tony's going to tell me the same.
Not even kidding.
He's going to grow the fish.
Sam Kelly's greenhouse.
And
I'm amazed at the number of the bits of advice
I've been
that I
doing
get
a lot
about
of growing. I've been doing a lot of baking.
Yes, I've seen some of your baking pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, I've been growing. I've been baking.
And you do a lot of martial arts as well, don't you?
Yeah, do they make you feel hungry?
They do.
I do. So I'm the angry 18-year-old now, huh?
No, you just prance around in your garden with a sword and stuff and look dangerous. So, Tony...
I've seen the workouts.
Well, it stops the neighbours trying to talk to me.
Fair play. Tony, what have you been doing during lockdown, sir?
Well, it's interesting. I was joking when I said about the lockdown. I didn't want to talk about it, but I mean, I must say, at the beginning of the lockdown, I was not exactly cheery about it. It was for everybody, it's quite annoying and all of that. But I quite quickly started actually enjoying it. One of the things is just all of a sudden it's a quieter environment, and we're lucky where I live. We have a nice little garden, and I could hear the birds. It was really beautiful. You see the blue sky, and it just felt very, very nice. I thought I can get used to this. I've been doing a lot of writing music as well.
So you're appreciating the peace and quiet to start with?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Because I haven't heard that for a long, long time of being actually able to hear what you could call the silence, and then actually hear birds and things like that.
And I think
no planes going over, no cars and all that.
That environment gives you a better headspace to write in. So, I mean, I've found I haven't written in a long time, and I've actually written a couple of songs during this lockdown because there has been a bit more, everything's more settled. As you say, you can hear the silence, which allows you to hear the thoughts in your head that bit easier.
Absolutely. This is, in the old days, they used to call it getting it together in the country. That's what Led Zeppelin and people like that would go off somewhere to Wales, somewhere far up from everybody, and
very true.
Stuff. But now you don't need to go very far.
Or France.
Didn't need to go anywhere,
Or France.
You have a quiet
France is a good place to go.
France,
it's a big country.
So, guys, look, we're
very
running
big
over a little
country.
bit. Let's not worry about that too much. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play one more song. We're going to come back. We're going to have a little last chat before we go. You can tell us where we can get the album from and bits and pieces like that. And then we'll play out with the song as well. So what have I got lined up next? That one. So this is another one with the lovely Ro. We'll play out with this one, actually, because I like that one.
Okay.
So this is one that Tony asked for earlier. This is Tripping Over the Wire. So this is Station House, Tripping Over the Wire. Enjoy.
I've been at it so long, baby. I feel my soul's about to expire. I've been at it so long, baby. I feel my soul's about to expire. I'm a man of good intentions, tripping over the wire. I've been running this rocky hill, baby. My legs begin to tire. I've been running this rocky hill, baby. My legs begin to tire. Like most folks of good intentions, tripping over the wire. Just in case they might catch fire. Don't give me the blame, baby, if your dreams they all catch fire. We all have good intentions, tripping over the wire. Tripping tripping over the wire, tripping, tripping over the wire, tripping, tripping over the wire, tripping.
Tripping over the wire there, Station House. Love that track. That's just really upbeat and bouncy. So again, more messages coming in. You've got Jerome's tuned in. Sorry he's a bit late, but he was finishing his radio show. Whole of Station House is on radio tonight. It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Mark Chudley, Mr. Mark Chudley
Hey, Mark.
has text. He's listening on YouTube, but he can't
Mr.
comment.
Mark.
And he wanted to say hello to me, Sam, and Ro, and I'm sure with Tony as well. I'm just, he's just a bit rude sometimes. Mark Chudley sends his regards, and hopefully Mark will be sending me a video for the jam night soon. So fingers crossed for
Brilliant.
that one. So all good. So yes, let's talk about No Barricades and the other albums if they're still available. Where can people snatch this up, and how much is it going to cost them, etc.?
Well, there's nothing in the shops as such. To buy a hard copy really is to message me or Diane Tuppen, and we will get a copy over, or even Ro or Tony, who will get a copy over to you. It's available, I think, on Spotify and the other kind of, what do you call it, media?
iTunes, Spotify,
It's also on Amazon and iTunes.
Digital.
You see,
Yeah.
These young people know these things.
digital formats, Sam.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The pension ain't what it used to be.
Oh, bless
I've
you.
got to get that in there. But yeah, it's available still, and I think we're all still happy with it. I mean, I was just listening to the tracks again in this setup, and it still sounds. I think we achieved what we wanted to achieve, and I've got to thank the whole band for allowing me to tick that box of having worked with a lot of people. You don't just sit there and take it all in and saying, right, where's the money? You're taking ideas, and like that last track that was just played, it was a track that written by a guy called Adrian Byron Burns, who I worked with years ago, and we rearranged it by adding in those extra 2 beats.
Right.
Because originally it was a 12 bar, and me being the kind of person I have to, let's put 2 more beats in there, let's really mess up the dancers. Stick the extra 2 bars in there,
But I think
we think it works.
with a song called Tripping Over the Wire, where it does feel like the beat's tripping a little bit.
About to,
And it works.
Yeah.
From that point of view. There's a guy, David something, I can't remember his surname on YouTube, and he breaks down songs and sort of notices little things how musicians write, a song about tripping, and they'll occasionally sort of skip beats on purpose to give you that feel of the lyric. And I think you've achieved that there, totally.
Well, it's also a bit like Mr. Fake. I mean, initially when I heard the song, it was in 5/4. Well, how can we do it and to make it fit in with Station House?
Right.
And so we have now a combination, or for the album and for live, we have like 12 bars of 5/4, or 24 bars of 5/4, and 24 bars of 4/4.
Wow.
So it's that transition between, you get a bar and 9, so it's that connection, and I think that's very much, I like to think it's us, as musicians.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so,
you are
what do you
known
think?
in the industry for playing
It's
drums.
totally
You were
nuts.
Blues Drummer of the Year for about 30,000 years in a row or something, weren't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
I was lucky enough to be awarded that. No, I'm serious. Because again, going back to what I was saying, is that I felt for ages that what I was doing and where I was coming from, nobody really wanted to know. But I was really surprised when I got the reaction from people. You know, saying, "Well, I really like what you do, and you don't sound like anybody else." And everybody, because I've been fired from a few bands.
But let's just clarify for those who don't know, some of those people who liked what you do. You were obviously in Unsigned, the first black British band to break America.
Yes.
You've played with Gary Moore.
Yes.
You played with
I
Robert
really
Plant.
Enjoyed. Yes, and I enjoyed that as well. Some post-production or pre-production things with Robert. Yeah, I mean, I've been extremely fortunate. You know, throwing lots and lots of names around, but I've been extremely fortunate with people who, and I think Tony, well, I think everybody will pick up, to be in the right place when somebody needed what you had and what you were trying to do, and they latched onto it. Your style of playing, rather than trying to get you to sound like X, Y, and Z. They said, "Well, look, you come in and play you, be you as a musician," which for me is the most, on the musical front, is the most fulfilling thing I've done so far. You know,
I think, you know,
producing
memories of playing with you
grandson.
as a drummer. You know, we've got, and you've played a rock song that I know, and you didn't, but you played, and what you done was you made that song your own, in a way that everyone could still follow, and everyone still knew where they were. Excuse me, but you just brought a whole new element to a song, and that's what I like about, you know, from performing with you, Sam, is that it's never going to be straight, it's never going to be normal. But in a really exciting, fun way.
Well, I think it's always, it keeps people...
And it'll never be the same twice.
Yeah, it's never done the same way twice. Absolutely right, Ro. I mean, each time we get together as a band, which is, I think, is part of the exciting thing about it, is that we'll get up there, we'll do the songs, we'll concentrate on the song, but anything can happen within the songs, within that performance. And then there's times when we're on stage and we turn around and we look at each other and we go, "What?" And after 30, 40 years, to still have that zest and that surprise, you're surprising each other. It's wonderful.
It is.
Absolutely wonderful.
It is.
And also when you're lucky enough to spend the time or be allowed to have the time to get the people that you want. Because there's a lot of us still who go around and get people who they think they need, but it's not really, because of their plan. Because you find out, personality-wise, when you're sitting in that bus and you're traveling to Germany or France or somewhere like that, and you're sitting there, they may be great players, but you only find out whether it's working or not.
Yes.
And I've been lucky enough to have these players, have these people around. But it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, because we have fun together,
and that's what it's ultimately all about. And when the fun stops, that's when it needs
get the
to
hell
stop.
out.
Exactly.
Get the hell out.
I've got people sending in Sam Kelly facts here. This is Mark Chudley. Sam also played on a #1 single with Gordon Haskell about 15 years ago.
Oh God! How wonderful you are! Yeah. Again, it's a whole story in that, how that came about, and also I made Mark appreciate. Oh God, what was it? The lady from Canada, who
Celine Dion.
Here and no.
Avril
not quite
Lavigne.
as big as that. No, Mark will know who she is. Come on, Mark. Come on. I gave you the T-shirt. Talk about being in the right place, the right time. Anchorage. She did a song about Anchorage.
Oh, yes. I went and saw her with Mark, and Mark ended up getting up on stage and playing a song, Jam Tart or something.
Yeah. Well, I ended up playing with her. It's like, what? Thinking back on a career, I think it must be a similar thing for Tony.
Michelle Shocked.
Michelle Shocked. There she is. Wow. Well, you found out, wow, you're in this position. and somebody wants, it's like the same thing with Gordon. You know, Gordon came to me, we were at a gig, and he said, I like the way you play. I'm hoping to do an album at some point, and I'd like you to play drums on it. And being a cynical old, yeah, dot. I am, oh, yeah. I've heard it so many times before, you know. So I gave him a card, and thinking I'll never hear any more from him. Anyway, about 6 months later, I get a call. Said, "Do you remember me?" And I went, "No." And he reminded me, and the rest is history. You know, we went in the studio, did a session. He got a #2 single out of it. It got to #2 in about 2000.
Wow.
You know, I'm still getting a bit of royalties, which keeps me off the streets, really. You know, it's really
That's what you've been doing, isn't it? That's what you've been doing during lockdown, just gathering your royalties coming in. And just
getting all the shekels.
Hoarding.
Right.
Guys, look, it's 10:15. Before we go, you haven't seen each other in a while. You haven't seen your fans and the rest of the band in a while. Has anyone got any messages they want to send, or you know, the crazy times we live in? What's your advice? How do we survive?
Over
Station
to
house
you
style.
two.
Well, Ro, what can you
Tony
tell
and
us?
Ro.
Stay crazy.
Yeah.
Stay crazy. It's the only thing that's going to get us through this.
And how about you, Tony?
Yeah. Well, my message is a bit corny, really, but it's sort of brought to light the thing of love. Love is the thing that holds people together.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
think
holds
And that's
people
my
together,
message.
or old people together? Old people
Yeah.
like me.
Do you know what? I think we can sit here and we could criticise the world and what's going on and the way it's being dealt with. But on the flip side of that, I think we've also seen over this time an outpouring of love in many different ways. For the NHS, for people who are caring, you know, people looking after neighbours they've barely spoken to because they're suffering from the horrendous COVID. You know, there's been a lot of nice stories coming out of it as well, and I think we're all very too quick to not see them sometimes and see the stuff that needs nitpicking and scratching at, you know. So you're right, Tony. Love is a good thing, especially in the larger sense of the world. We need to love the world a bit more, love each other a bit more.
And I think it's also been a brilliant time for me to find out about yourself, what's in there. You know, I've been very grateful for that with people, and being a little bit deeper, with them. Find out that there's more to them than just being a player. You know, there's nothing wrong with knowing that they're players, but there is a person behind there somewhere. And most times on gigs, and I think we kind of touched on it, you don't have time for that.
No.
You know, hello, how are you? You know, how many gigs you doing? Da 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 da. And then you're on stage or you've gone or whatever. It's at the times to say, well, look, and I think somebody summed it up really succinctly. Great word. I'll remember that one. When someone asks, how are you? Be honest and saying, you know, I might be bad, or maybe having a hard time, or maybe rather than just, yeah, I'm fine, and move on. You know, that's what something else I found.
I think we all do that. I think it's human nature because, you know, how are you hasn't become how are you. It's more of a greeting. It's more of a hello. It's that sort of thing. So we all just brush it off. And, you know, I do it occasionally. Someone will come, how are you? Bit shit, actually. And people go, whoa!
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And they don't know what to say there from that point of view. So I just find that cheers me up personally.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been wonderful chatting with you all. Tony, it's nice to meet you. Obviously,
Thank you for having us.
When after this, maybe we can meet up and actually properly shake hands and do that sort of physical thing. No, none of that.
I look forward to that.
No, okay, none of that. Sam said so. You know, I plan on throwing the biggest mother of a party when we can. We're going to go for the world record group hug. We're going to get drunk, and we're going to play lots of music, and you're all invited. So, you know, let's get it together when we can, all right?
That's great, Ian. That's really good.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Guys,
right, we're going to play out.
Tony, see you
I'll
later.
be there.
We're going to play out with It
Great to see
Wasn't
you
Me
guys.
Who Brought the Tears.
Lovely.
Guys, if you want to stick around until the end of the song, we can stay and have a quick chat afterwards if you want to.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
Sure.
Awesome.
No, I
Don't
don't
stop me
like them.
talking.
Lovely. Yeah.
I've sod you then.
Ah.
So this is Station House. It Wasn't Me Who Brought the Tears. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for being in the chat room. We'll see you next week. Thursday for the jam night, Saturday for the quiz night. Join us, all of them, and we'll see you soon.
I know that someone else has hurt you. I see the anger and the fear. Wasn't me who did those things. No, wasn't me who brought your tear. There's no truth behind the rumor. Smoky mirrors mostly lie. Doesn't matter when it hits you. Oh, only love can make you cry. Is it really any wonder I might try and love again? You know we all must take our chances in the hope that we might win. Is it really any wonder that I might try and love again when we all must take our chances? Pray to God that we might win. I see you hurt, and I understand the fear. Wasn't me who did those things. No, wasn't me who brought your tears. Wasn't me who did those things. No, no, it wasn't me. Wasn't me who did those things. No, 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 it wasn't me. Wasn't me who did those things. No, no, wasn't me who brought your tear. Wasn't me who did those things. No, no, wasn't me who brought your tears.